utopia, and it could be the biggest spring break party of all time.
Apparently, the founding fathers of the event are these 3 students from Playa del Toro High School.
Mondo?
From the people who worked on The Simpsons and the guys who directed Pineapple Express, and the time when Snooki and the internet was at its prime. A lot of shows around that time will have that early LMFAO and Domo vibe. And this is what Fox will order an animated pilot series that will be later picked up by MTV to get their hands on the animation scene. And that show is MTV's Good Vibes. What's up, people of YouTube? It's your boy G, and welcome back to a happy new year. I am so excited for this year, since last year on YouTube was probably my best year, especially how clutch December was. It got me thinking how this year will go, and I've decided to try to post 2 videos a month and also drop a bunch of YouTube shorts to go along with it. Don't worry, I already got something planned for February, and my goal is to hit 10,000 subs by the end of the year. So with that, I should talk about a show that uses sex jokes like it's going out of style, that being MTV's Good Vibes, a show that was around the same time during the Beavis and Butthead's second run and was quickly swept under the rug after 1 season, which quite honestly find unfair, and that's because I happen to like this show when it was airing. I always remember talking to my friend about this show, and I don't know if it's nostalgia, but I gave this show a good ranking back then, and this show being on the list of stuff I always wanted to talk about on this channel, I think it fits to see if this show really does stand the test of time. So sit back, grab your season 1 copy of Jersey Shore. It's time to hit the beaches. To start things off, Good Vibes is an American adult animated sitcom created by David Gordon Green, who directed a bunch of projects such as Pineapple Express or Your Highness, as well as a few episodes on HBO's comedy Eastbound and Down. We also have Brad Abelson, who spent 15 years as an animator and storyboard artist for The Simpsons. But like any passionate aficionado, Abelson wanted more. What was more? Well, making his own animated film, so he enlisted the help of some friends and got to work on an idea he had. This animated film was going to involve the animated baby born into the real world, and using his industry connections and borrowing from his savings, Save Virgil was underway, and Adam Carolla was signed as the voice of Virgil.
Time to hop on the old steel horse and ride.
Virgil, wait! You're not ready for the real world!
Relax, woman. What's the worst that can...
A 10-minute original animated short ended up taking up 3 years of nights and weekends to finish. Abelson even flew to Korea to supervise the animating team, sleeping under his desk to save money. Man's working like he's a part of MAP, but his efforts will pay off when Save Virgil was sold to Fox as a pilot, but Abelson said it never got off the ground following the complications with the Hollywood writer he was paired with, who never finished the script of Saving Virgil. But from the ashes of Saving Virgil came a new idea. Abelson had a new creative partner, Mike Clements, dreamed up an animated series called Good Vibes. The series follows Mondo, a New Jersey kid who moves to Playa del Toro, a fictional Southern California beach town where bikinis rule and the vibe is endless summer. The show was originally sold to Fox in 2008 and a pilot was produced, but unfortunately Fox passed on it, and now with a wife and family, Abelson said that he had finally given up launching his own cartoon series. Later on, representatives of MTV called Abelson's and ordered 12 episodes of the show. No questions asked. From that moment on, Abelson stepped down his job at The Simpsons, devoted himself to full-time at Good Vibes, and now he has a hit TV show that follows the return of Beavis and Butthead with it. Sadly, it only lasted 1 season, and on February 24, 2012, the series was canceled for low ratings, which I don't see how. The ratings I could find got pretty decent scores, with some critics even writing, "I have to admit, Good Vibes delivered some good laughs in between the crotch punch and penis punchlines. Good Vibes is worth checking out, but it fell a little short. It's instantly forgettable." Okay, I get it. But with this show who treats sex jokes like Family Guy treats the cutaway gags, Good Vibes will actually have a good cast of voice actors and bands to go with the beach vibes of the show. The show even got Mila Kunis in 1 episode. But what was the show even about? Well, like I said earlier, we follow Mondo, the new kid who moved from Jersey and hates the feeling of being the fat kid in a town where the bums are even buff. But within the show, you get to see Mondo getting out of his shell and even through his obsession with the ladies, he's just a normal dude who knows right from wrong, even if it has to be beaten into him. But Mondo just wants to fit in. Like, you'll have one episode where Mondo plans to have a sleepover with Watsuka, the weird kid. More on him later. Only using him to get closer to his sister, and even though he was taking advantage of the situation and was even going to get somewhere, he quickly stops when Gina reminds him how much her brother sees him as a friend. Or another good example is when Mondo finds out that the beach town he lives in doesn't get a spring break, so they can't party. So with some quick thinking, he finds out that he can party in the ocean, and this blows up with them basically having Coachella in the water. And this is where Gina's super under the influence because of her boyfriend Turk basically asks Mondo if he wants to hit the showers of her, but Mondo refuses and doesn't take advantage of her. I wish you would see moments like this. But Mondo was voiced by Josh Gad, the guy from Angry Birds, Pixels, and We Bare Bears. But this would be one of his first main character roles, and he did an okay job. I didn't mind the voice of Mondo, it actually felt like an actual teenage boy.
Oh my God, she's hungry!
I think she said horny!
Are you sure? I distinctly heard hungry!
Next up, we have Mondo's best friend Woody, who plays the California surfer stereotype. You know, the type that follows the rules of the ocean, only wearing puka shell necklaces and extremely lazy, and plays the right hand of Mondo. Oh yeah, and his family is like super rich. Yet Woody decides not to enjoy the wealth, trying to live a minimalistic lifestyle. And honestly, Woody as a main character sounds a little more interesting in my book, but he has his moments where power gets to his head, and some not so good moments. Like, he shows Mondo the ropes of the town, and that's because he tries to sneak a peek at Mondo's mom in the shower in the first episode. Whoa man, that's a crime. And that would be kind of his run-on joke for the entire show, him being super attracted to Mondo's mom, even willing to break some bro code moments like dude, come on, that's your homie's mom. Woody was voiced by Adam Brody, The Crow Show, and Mad TV.
There's my son. There's mine.
You're a terrible father.
We also got Watsuka, the third in the trio. This Brown Milhouse clone is a super weird perverted nerd that always comes up with random stuff for Woody and Mondo to do. He pretty much plays the early 2010s internet pop culture guy and is brother of Gina, the girl Mondo wants to get with. Watsuka is that Newgrounds loving Xbox 360 no-scope that will argue with you that G4 is the better channel over Spike TV because they air Code Monkeys and is super comfortable with his sexuality. And for 2010s, I'll give it to you. But Watsuka is literally just raw and McLovin fusing, and would sometimes even go a level beyond that. And truth be told, all his moments are hilarious. Dude steals the show either being the smart guy or the insane person, and I'm here for it. Watsuka's voiced by Tony Hale, who also plays Dr. Psycho in Harley Quinn, who pretty much is just Watsuka with superpowers.
Oh, please. We never landed on the moon. That bastard Armstrong planted Old Glory on Cornelius 88.
It's kind of psycho. No pun intended. And with this trio of a short fat kid who wants the girl out of the league, the tall kid who's always there for them, and the weird nerd who can't stop for a second. Wait a minute. Short fat kid, tall kid, weird nerdy kid. Where have I seen this before? Oh no. Yeah, if you didn't catch what I first said in the beginning, this trio was based off the Superbad crew. And that's what the creators kind of wanted to go with since Superbad was really popular around that time. And they wanted to make something similar but with a beach theme. Speaking of Watsuka, we have Watsuka's sister Gina, who is a free-spirited love interest of Mondo and is pretty much the voice of reason. Always trying to do the right thing and is also saying she's always looking out for her brother, but majority of the time of the show you see her with her boyfriend Dirk, who I thought was voiced by Rex Splode, but is not. And what doesn't help her character is how they make Gina seem more of a prize than her own character in the show. And that's saying something for a show that sexualizes everyone that'll make any basic high school anime blush. Like, there's a reason why I'm covering majority of the show in this video, other than YouTube's rules, and also these are underage people. So if you want to see the show, you're gonna have to look it up yourself. But if you think the younger characters or something, I think you'll find the adult characters more interesting. I've mentioned Mondo's mom, but this is Babs, the local independent single parent MILF, who just wants to live a better life for her and Mondo. And while her joke is that she's a MILF, she don't play that. With a bunch of episodes showing her past being a pro mud wrestler or even her party days, from the punk rock shows to the beach blowouts, Babs was a party animal, but those times were behind her, only wanting to raise Mondo, even struggling on that, from trying to decide if she wants a loose parenting style, but noticing how it backfires time to time. She even willing to let Woody slide on the peeping situation. situations, so Mondo could make something of a friend. But as a strong and independent person Babs is, we gotta talk about Miss Teets, who in the surface is a complete opposite of Babs, but man, it's hard to say the confidence Miss Teets have. In the show, being Babs' landlord and the school teacher, remember when I said Watska steals the show? Yeah, so does Miss Teets, and all her moments are either funny, gross, and even sometimes both. And even though the show treats her like Meg Griffin, she's able to take the punches and is unapologetic about it. Both a show that's supposed to be super bad with surfers, what's the episodes like? Well, I'll talk more about that after this.
Klein to breathalyzer. I'm gonna have to take you downtown.
Okay, officer. Sorry, I'm being difficult. It's just that I hate bacon! F***ing pig!
So for show with 47 seasons, wait, that can't be right. So for show with 12 episodes, what are they about? And are there any good ones or bad ones? So to start, from episode 1 to 12, here's my reviews on all the episodes. Episode 1. The first episode is basically a get to know the characters, and that's because it's the pilot. You meet the whole cast and who's who, nothing to write home about. Episode 2. The episode is called Floatopia, where the boys find a loophole on how to have a massive spring break party. And the reason why is because of Mondo's mom being the cause on why they don't have no more. And the B plot is that Woody's dad's trying to get him on his team so his shareholders can see that he's a family guy.
He said it! He said it!
And while the party is growing and growing, Mondo is put in a situation with Gina, who's very under the influence, but doesn't and makes sure she's okay, and gets his mom to destroy Floatopia the only way she knows. Episode 3. In this episode, we see the classic damn kids on their phones all day situation. It's gotten so bad that Miss Teets gets hurt, so the parents sends all the teenagers to the tech rehab, and soon finds themselves stuck, where the rehab guy kicks the bucket and some shenanigans happen, and the group gets split into threes. This trope is very common, having the most unliking pairings being paired, but I would have put this episode later on in the season only because it's being episode 3 and we only had a little bit of time for some of these characters and we wouldn't really know why they don't like each other. Oh yeah, parent orgy. Episode 4. In this episode, Mondo uses Watska to get closer to Gina by making him throw a sleepover. Already talked about this, so I'm skipping this, but I'll leave you with this clip.
What the hell's he doing? Human beings don't bend that way.
Oh my God! What's happening?
Episode 5. So in this episode, the boys does an annual winter water run. Well, Mondo shows why having some extra pounds is not that bad to have. But running back from the cold water, he seems to lose his shorts, and this is where the popular girls making a list of all the guys' sizes. And finding out that he's last place, he tries to take it down for being gross and harassment. The side plot is word that Woody finds out that he's number 5 and is getting more attention, and even calls Mondo selfish for being mad at him for going to a party. But at the end, they manage to get a list down by making own list to stop Woody's sister Milan. Episode 6. This episode tackles breast cancer and breast cancer awareness, but I'll leave you with this clip. Episode 7. In this episode, it's Milan's 16th birthday, and she's having an MTV style Sweet 16 party. Yeah, this show is dated at times, but before the Sweet 16 party, the school votes Mondo to be Milan's boyfriend for the party, and Mondo quickly enjoys the rich lifestyle that Woody tries to avoid, and Mondo even learns firsthand how money changes people, from a loving family to from a shallow bunch of strangers who aren't even recognizable. And honestly, it's really nice to see some Woody backstory and some progress with Woody and Gina, really pushing the will they won't they ship. With every TV show set in high school, of course they're going to have the prom episode. It's like the American version of a beach episode in any anime. But it's time for the big prom episode, and while everyone is getting dates, Mondo asks out his pregnant classmate because earlier his mom told him how hard life was being a single mom, but while asking, Gina and Turk broke up, leaving Mondo to ask Woody to go out with Gina, and this is where we see development between Gina and Mondo, instead of the trope of dragging it on and on. Oh yeah, Mila Kunis guest stars in this episode. And at the end of the episode, Mondo and Gina finally kiss. But sadly, this is an episodic show, so we go right back to status quo. Episode 9. In this episode, Mondo has a crisis about not knowing his dad. And we learn that his mom would distract Mondo every time he asks. So with the help of Watska, he hacks into her Facebook to find out who his dad is, out of 4 men. And also we find out that Babs is going through a MILF-like crisis. No, not midlife crisis. Thinking she's losing her hot status, and Mondo invites the men to his mom's party to figure figure out who is his dad, only to find out that none of the three men are, but the duck mascot dude is, because his dad used to work for the mob, but one night seeing something he wasn't supposed to led him to witness protection and have him hiding working as a mascot. We don't get to see Mondo's dad, only just the mascot and a little bit in the end, just the silhouette of him. Episode 10. This one's a hangover parody where the guys have to get Waska to a family photo shoot, but before going they stop at a nudist beach. And while Waska is off his meds, he goes full Waska while Mondo and Woody gets busted for starting an old person nude riot. So they go all around trying to find Waska, even getting worried thinking that he might got hurt. But eventually they find him and manage to get him to take the picture, and even got him to smile with the help of his first kiss. And the episode ends off with a hangover picture scene. Episode 11. In this episode, Woody is competing in a surfing contest, something we all know that he loves to do, but he comes up short and loses his mojo to the point where he feels like he can't even order any food. And convenient that the Dongo Bongo is coming to town, which is a massive wave, Mondo comes up with a plan to find the surfing legend Duke to give Woody his confidence again, and while Duke agrees to help, the boys have to help him get with his lost love, that being Miss Teets. Yeah, for a show that relentlessly makes fun of her, she does get what she wants. But the Dongo Bongo is here, with the massive wave finally hitting the town, but towards the end, Woody rides the massive wave, getting his confidence back thanks to his friends and becoming a legend. We're at the last episode, and throughout the entire season, this one ends in a bash, that being the end of the year console, and while everyone is excited, Babs is concerned for Mondo after getting in trouble for accidentally sending him a picture of her in school. So she decides to change her whole parenting style from the fun and understanding to controlling and bearing. And although Mondo isn't the best kid, he does know right from wrong, like I've been saying, and it's interesting to see that Babs doesn't notice it. But this is something we see her struggle with throughout the season. So while she takes away everything that's fun, only letting him go to the console and as long as she's with him, Babs doesn't see she's overdoing it until she bumps into some old friends of hers and kind of reminds her that Mondo for his faults isn't the worst. And while she realizes that, Mondo sneaks off with Gina to enjoy the console, and they spend no expense when it comes to the guest bands, from Carne Asada to OK Go, bands that give the vibe of the show. And for everything, Babs apologizes to Mondo and gets him backstage with Gina to meet OK Go, ending the show on Good Vibes. That was Good Vibes, a show that took a lot from the early 2010s and only had the right sex jokes till they can't think of anything else. And after rewatching it, I'm still laughing at it. And to me, at least it holds up. But did you ever watch Good Vibes? Let me know in the comments below. And that's gonna be it for today's video. Don't forget to leave a like, and till the next one.
Probably burn that mattress.
I just came! Hang on. Multiple times!
Balls! Sorry!
More like D's.
Hey, boys!
Righteous dudes in vans!
Ought to put that ass on MTV.
Point in 10 strokes.
Oh my God!
Peace.